Hey, what's up everyone? Adam here with brahwegotthis, and today I'm going to kick off a brand new build series where I take you through a class and give you a build that is designed to be only one bar. Yes, one bar. You might say, why are you only using one bar? Well, before you dismiss it, know that this one bar build is ridiculous. This one bar build provides you with a more simplified build for those of you that are either struggling with bar switching or your rotations that you see in my builds or other content creators. But it also allows you to get a better feel for your skills by getting better at weaving and utilizing just a few skills and learning them in and out because you're only going to be on one bar. This first build in the series is my one bar Sorcerer. So let's jump in. Thank you again to my patrons and YouTube members. I'll have more on that at the end of the video on how you can support. Like all my builds, I will give you advice on how to level up your builds from level 3 to level 50, so that way you can have the skills you need when you get to the end game. I also give you some insight on other sets that you can use as well. But this build can be used as a solo build as well as a group build, in my opinion. But we're going to use the Sorc in this first build. Sorcs give us great healing and great sustain. And so as we start out, we're going to talk about the stats, Mundus, food, and the race. So for the race, we are using the Orc. The Orc gives us max stamina boost, it gives us max health, but also heals us when we deal damage, which is really nice for solo play. And then Swift Warrior increases our weapon and spell damage and reduces the cost of our sprint by 12%, increases the movement speed bonus of sprint by 10%. So I really love the Orc for this build. Now for the stats, we are at 35.8k max stamina. Yes, 35.8k max stamina, 24.8k max health. Our magicka health and stamina recovery are all over 1,000. Our stamina recovery is 2725, which is fantastic for us. Our weapon damage 4192, spell damage 4192. Our spell crit and weapon crit is 62.1% right now. It will go up a little bit, I believe, from our buffs. The Mundus stone that we are using is the Thief. This increases our weapon and spell critical. With the Mundus, you can always use like Shadow or the Penetration Lover stone, which is Lover. But I like using the Thief most of the time. And then our food that we're using is Dubious Camoran Throne, which increases our stamina recovery, our max stamina, and our max health. This is going to be really nice because we're going to be on one bar and it's just going to help us have really good sustain as well. For the skills and passives, again, we are only on one bar here. So I'm going to go through the skills and I'll show you how to get them the best way possible from level 3. Our first skill is actually Crystal Fragments. And the reason we're using Crystal Fragments is this was actually buffed in this patch coming up in High Isle. Crystal Fragments used to only proc possibly off of a magicka ability. But now, while slotted, casting a health magicka or stamina ability has the chance of making this be the instant cast proc, which is amazing because it helps us sustain a lot more because we're using that as magicka, and then our other skills are stamina for the most part. But this does so much damage. On our parse, we were averaging around 45k damage on each hit of this. This is an amazing skill, and I think you could start utilizing this on stamina characters now. The next skill we have is Wrecking Blow. Wrecking Blow is from the two-handed line. This is our main spammable, and this is going to increase our light and heavy attacks as well, which is going to really increase our DPS. But this is going to do a lot of damage and it has a very, very low stamina cost. Next skill is Crit Surge. Crit Surge is one of your most important skills as a Sorc. This is going to give you major brutality and sorcery, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 20%. And then when you deal critical damage, you heal for 3,300 health. This is really nice for being able to solo. Our next skill is Stampede. Stampede is in the two-handed line. This is really good to get across rooms to clear ads in like an AoE setting. And it's always a critical strike, so it's always going to proc our Crit Surge. Our last skill is actually Camouflage Hunter. So that is just a skill that we're using, that we're putting on the bar. We're not actually using it, but this is just on our bar is just going to give us major savagery and prophecy, increasing our weapon and spell critical rating by 2629. And you also gain minor berserk for 5 seconds after dealing critical damage from an enemy's flanks. That means if you're on the side or behind them, which is really nice. Our ultimate is Greater Storm Atronach. I really love this one because of the stun that it does. And it does a lot of damage. You can also use the Fighters Guild one to give us more weapon and spell damage because of the Slayer thing. This will go up to 6% if you put that on the bar, which is really nice. But I like using Greater Storm Atronach just for clearing more ads and everything like that. One thing I want to mention, y'all, is that there's definitely variants that you can use for this. For your two-handed line, you can use Carve instead of Stampede if you want. I just like Stampede because it allows you to get across the room really quickly. It allows you to be very mobile, but Carve is not a bad option either. It's really good. So I just wanted to mention that. But that's our bar, y'all. That is our bar. And so we'll go over the rotation here in a second. For the passives, you definitely want to get the Slayer passive in the Fighters Guild. You also want to get your Undaunted passives. For your class passives, we're going to want all 4 of the Dark Magic passives right here. We're using Crystal Fragments, so it's going to be solid to have those. For Daedric Summoning, we're going to want to have all the passives except for Rebate. These will help because we do have Greater Storm Atronach on here. For Storm Calling, you're going to want all of the passives here. For the weapons, you want all the two-handed passives. For your armor, you want all the medium armor passives. And then obviously for your race, you want all the racial passives. Now, when it comes to leveling up these skills, since we're only using 1 bar, it's really simple. Crystal Fragments is the first skill you get. Wrecking Blow is the first skill you get. Stampede is the second skill you get. So you'll be able to get those pretty quickly. For the Storm Calling, you will need to get Crit Surge. So you can put like Hurricane and Mage's Fury on your bar and you'll be able to get Crit Surge pretty easy. And then Daedric Summoning, this is the ultimate. You'll get it like level 10. You can literally just start leveling it up then. And then for the Fighters Guild, the Fighters Guild is this right here, so you can just do dolmens to get Fighters Guild up. It's going to be very simple to do that. In my opinion, this build, getting the skills should be very, very simple. The armor is still pretty similar. Like, you should be able to get this stuff just over time. So it should be able to be used by a lot of people. But let's actually go into the armor now that we talk about that. And something that I want to caveat this with is that this is on the PTS right now. Expansion's coming out in about 40 to 45 days, roughly. It's going to be early June before the expansion comes out. So I just want to caveat that with this build, different stats could change in one of the pieces of armor that we're using. But let's talk about our main stuff first. So on a 1 bar build, we're using a 5-piece of Pillar of Nirn. This is from the Falkreath Hold dungeon. You can do this on normal. You do not have to do it on vet. But what this does is it adds max stamina, crit chance, weapon, and spell damage. When you deal damage, you create a fissure underneath the enemy after 1 second, dealing 3/125 bleed damage to all enemies within 2.5 meters and causing them to bleed for an additional 16, 5, 10 bleed damage over 10 seconds. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. This is going to do a lot of damage to our opponent and to our enemy as we use this. This is a great set. Some people in Twitch chat have told me about the set, started using it, and it's really, really good. Now, our 5-piece is Briarheart, and you're wondering maybe why are we using Briarheart on the shoulder? Well, we're using the Briarheart Battle Axe, Briarheart Collar, and Briarheart Ring in the Briarheart shoulder. What this does is give us loads of crit chance, max stamina, and when you deal critical damage, you increase your weapon and spell damage by 450 for 10 seconds. While this is active, your critical strikes heal you for 286 health. Again, this is really good for soloing. Like I said, you can solo with this, and your Stampede is going to always crit, so you'll be able to heal off of that and increase your weapon and spell damage. So now we're using 1 piece of Slime Crawl as well. That gives us an additional crit chance. This is from Vet Wayra Sewers 1. Very easy to do. Shouldn't be too hard. But we're using a 1-piece mythic set, and this is the newest, one of the newest mythic items coming to High Isle in early June. And again, this could see some changes, but it's still, I think, going to be a solid thing for you to use. But if it does get changed, I will update this build on the website, so you won't have any issues. This still should be able to do a decent amount of damage on the 1 bar. But Oaken Soul Ring, a new mythic item from High Isle. This gives us Magicka, health, stamina recovery from the enchantment Infused. But what this does is it adds 450 weapon and spell damage. It adds 5,280 armor, 450 health recovery, 450 magic recovery, 450 stamina recovery, 3737 max health, 3737 max magicka, 3737 max stamina, and 1973 crit chance. While this is equipped, you're unable to swap between your primary and backup weapon sets. This may not even get a nerf because they actually buffed it from the preview server. And since you're not able to use your second bar, I think that's why I don't think it'll get nerfed. So this is such a solid ring. I love this ring. Gives us so much recovery. We never run out of sustain. Because you'll see that I'm not using the Vicious Ophidian set. A lot of times I use that for sustain. This is so good. It also gives us that 5,280 armor, which is really nice for solo play. I love this, okay? I love this. Now, leveling up, what should you actually wear for armor? So, starting out, you can get Hunting's Rage. Hunting's Rage will be fine. That can be crafted for you. And maybe like Viper Sting or Leviathan. And then when you hit CP 160, you can go for the full set of Briarheart. In the Hrothgar Overland Zone. Then you can go do the Falkreath Hold DLC dungeon on normal to get Pillar of Nirn. And then once you do that, you can go and get your Slime Crawl mask. And then you can start getting the pieces for the Oaken Soul Ring mythic item. Now let's go into the champion points. The champion points are pretty simple and straightforward. Use all the extra champion points you have to get passives once you have all these fully maxed out. But what we're using is we're doing 15 to fighting finesse, which is increasing our crit damage and crit healing done. We're doing 50 into deadly aim, which increases our damage done with single target attacks. 15 into thaumaturge, increase your damage done with damage over time effects. And master at arms, increase your damage done with direct damage attacks. So these are the ones we're slotting for the blue. For the red, we are using survival instincts. While afflicted by a status effect, your core combat skills cost 5% less per stage. We're doing rejuvenation, which gives us health, magic, and stamina recovery. We're doing sustained by suffering, which also gives us more recovery. And then we're doing bloody renewal, which restores stamina whenever we kill an enemy. For green, you can seriously do what you'd like. It's up to you. But that is our champion points, okay? Now, let's get into the rotation. The rotation is simple, guys. It's literally so simple, okay? This is something that I absolutely love because this has been one of the simplest things I've ever done. So all you literally have to do is you activate Crit Surge. You can engage with either a Carve or a Stampede. And then you can just use your Wrecking Blow, Light Attack, and then Crystal Frags. Use your Crystal Frags when it's procced. You'll see that it turns pink when it's procced, and it's an instant cast. You saw there, I hit a 59k Crystal Frag. I'm gonna do it again. 55k right there. Do it again, another 59k. And that's literally what you do, guys. That's literally all you do. You Stampede to get the damage over time. Use Wrecking Blow, and then Light Attack after that. Crystal Frag. 55k on that hit. You'll keep your Crit Surge up when it goes down. You'll Wrecking Blow and you'll Light Attack. Wrecking Blow, Light Attack, Crit Surge or Crystal Frag, and then you'll use your ultimate when it is up, and it will do damage. Now, some tricks I want to show you. When you're light attacking with Wrecking Blow, it's very easy to do it. So once you press your skill, you're going to be able to light attack right after it. You see that? Once I did my skill, I light attacked. How you do that is while you're winding up, you click your light attack. So you queue it up essentially. So click and then click your mouse. Click the skill, click your mouse. Click your skill, click the mouse. And then your Crystal Frag's up, proc it, 50,000 damage. So that is the rotation. It's that simple. With this rotation, I got nearly 60k damage, but from just using one bar. I'm not the best at light attack weaving, you know, and going through my skills. So with practice, I could probably get that closer to 65k. But yes, 60k damage on one bar, guys. Okay, that is something that I never thought I would do, especially on a sword. That's damage that's gonna really, really help you out in all content. And so literally all you have to do is click like 2 skills essentially, and then 2 skills every like 20 to 10 seconds. But that is literally the rotation. When you start practicing the rotation, you're gonna be able to get higher and higher as you go. Yeah, if you want to check out any of my other builds, I'm gonna have some builds up here in the cards for you. I also have builds on my website as well that are written, and I'll have the written build of this up very soon, either at the time of this recording or a few days afterwards. And remember, you can check out our live stream, twitch.tv/brahwegotthis, Tuesday through Friday, our Discord, our website, brahwegotthis.com. And again, thank you to my patrons and YouTube members. You can support down in the description with those links. But until next time, just remember to have faith to be great, and I'll see you on ESO.